Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be covering the transformed wife. So just stick with me. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so actually I'm covering two blogs from the Transformed Wife today because they actually go hand in hand. I know, calm down, don't have an aneurysm on me. So, the first blog is titled, He's Looking for a Godly Wife. She covered this on October the 30th of 2019. I say that she covered this because this is actually kind of an ad for a male who follows her blog. Now, let me just say that again. It's a male who follows her blog because Lori claims all of the time that her blogs and her tweets and all of that are meant for women because she dare not teach a man what to do. So I'm just going to kind of go through and read to you this blog. It says, this young man wrote this comment on this post, marry a Christian man who provides and protects, the other day. If you're interested, just leave him a comment. And then she puts a little smiley face. Let's help this man find a wife. I would love to see all of you who are godly and single who want to marry find a spouse. And this is what it says. I want to thank the Transformed Wife and all the previous comments to her article here. As a young 24 single man, this probably isn't the best website for me. However, this article nearly perfectly describes the man I want to be and the woman I want to marry. I tend to be very traditional, and though I didn't grow up knowing the Lord, I've found that this viewpoint is often very biblical. I work as an aircraft mechanic in a military and am pursuing a bachelor's in engineering. I recently bought my first home and have always been pretty frugal. I go to church regularly, have a strong relationship with Christ, and am teaching a youth apologetics class at church. I enjoy serving wherever I can and love how God has given me a servant heart. My first priority is my relationship with Jesus. Second is my future family and helping my parents back home when I can. And third is my work and being a good provider for my future family. The part I find most discouraging, however, is the lack of women who are this way. Every woman near my age that I see is going to college and usually working as well. While I don't have a problem with women doing this, both before marriage and childbearing, I see little hint of them desiring to be married and having children. Also, my only romantic relationship was with someone who was very much a career-oriented feminist. So I'm far more cautious when ladies mention they're going to college and pursuing some degree/career path. I understand many women lack the security of prospective husbands. Most men my age are somewhat equally influenced by feminist culture, even in the church, so women don't have much of a choice but to seek their own provision. However, my question is how I would tell the difference between a woman who is merely going the route prior to marriage and would easily give it up when she's married versus a woman who is going that route and wouldn't give it up. Could I even know before pursuing a relationship with her? I guess it simply has to do with her priorities on a first date. I could ask if she would rather have a future career or a family as her priority. So that is what this young man wrote in. again, this is just very right up the transformed wives thing, and that's the end of her blog. It's just, she is literally running like a singles ad for this boy. She closes it out with Proverbs 18:22, so I'm going to go over to my Skeptic's Bible. 18:22, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. And so then it clicks, then it has a thing for, is marriage a good thing? And it has two parts to this. First part is God said wasn't good for Adam to be alone, so he created the animals, hoping that Adam would find a helpmate spouse among the animals. When none satisfied Adam, God went to plan B by making a woman, Eve, out of Adam's rib. That whole story is in Genesis. Also, in a possible endorsement of marriage, Jesus quoted the above passage of Genesis, but see what he said later in the same chapter of Matthew by saying, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother and shall cleave unto his wife. There's some other mentions of marriage, Proverbs 18:22, which is what we just read. Then you have Ecclesiastes 9:9, which says, live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest. Also, marriage is honorable in all, which is Hebrews 13:4. 1 Timothy says that a bishop must be a blameless husband of one wife, so it must be okay to marry, although if you're bishop, you can only have one wife. Non-bishops presumably may have more than one wife. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, for a bishop must be blameless, Titus 1:6-7. And then in the world, and when the world is about to end, seducing spirits and devilish doctrines will forbid people to marry. In the later times, some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, forbidding to marry, 1 Timothy 4:1-3. Then there is the no, it's better not to marry. Paul thought it was better for Christians not to marry, and there are two examples of this, both from 1 Corinthians chapter 7. You have 7:1, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. And then you have 1 Corinthians 7:7, for I would that all men were, even as I myself, unmarried. It is good for them if they abide even as I. And then you have, and so did Jesus, who said, those who are worthy of heaven don't marry. So apparently, if you're married, you're not worthy of heaven. That comes from Luke 20:34-35. And then in Matthew 19:10-12, and when his disciples said that if divorce is not an option, it is better not to marry, Jesus agreed. And that is a Jesus statement. So a lot of contradictions on whether to marry or whether not to marry and all of that. So I don't think a lot of people really know what they're talking about. Anyway, moving on. So like I said, we're covering two blogs that go hand in hand. So let's move over to the other one, which Lori titled, How Young Should Women Marry? And she posted this on November 6th of 2019. Excuse me. So she starts off with an opening paragraph about the young man that she had posted the blog about, which we just got finished reading. And she says she got a few comments from some of the women responding to him. Apparently this young man's name is Jonathan. Many people responded to him, and some were even emailed her about him. There was even some comments, the plain Jane is exactly what he was looking for. I don't want the professional model at all. God gave me a servant heart, so I enjoy helping behind the scenes. A young woman who simply serves where she can and where she is needed, community, nursery, food pantry, etc. She doesn't call attention to herself, yet her simple, godly conduct speaks volumes, is what he is looking for. But then he goes on. I've actually met someone kind of like that. Now remember, this guy is 24 years old. I first met her while helping after a church event. She was washing dishes. I've repeatedly seen her try to be helpful and even ask me if she could help me when I was serving. I've noticed times when she was serving and all the other ladies were just sitting talking amongst themselves. The only issue is that she just turned 17 and I'm 24. I'm pretty sure that's a bit too much of an age difference now, but I'd love to get your view on that. So now, this girl just turned 17. This man is 24. That's a 7-year age gap. Now, I'm going to say this. There are instances in which that is not a problem, but she is still under the age of 18. She is still a child. Now, I personally have a dating age range rule myself. Some people don't. And in certain age brackets, a 7-year age gap is not that big of a deal. But when you're looking at 17 to 24, that 7 years is a huge difference because you learn a lot about yourself during that age range. Between my years of 17 and 24, I was a totally different person. At 17 years old, I never wanted to be married. I never wanted to have kids. I was very much on the, I'm going to go to college. This is my career path. This is what I'm going to do. By the age of 24, I had 2 kids. I had been married. I was divorced. I'd gone to college, had my degree, but it was not the way I wanted things to go because I had my kids while I was in college and had to rush my education. I was working to support my 2 children, and I was single. 7 years, huge difference. You learn a lot about yourself between the ages of 17 and the age of 24. You'd go through a whole lot of changes. But moving on. So, Lori states that this began a huge conversation in her chat room. She never gives any information about this chat room. She just throws it into her blogs all the time. She said that she asked women what they thought about this. Her initial reaction was that this girl sounds like a good one, a young woman who loves to serve. She advised that it's rare indeed. I thought that he could begin to get to know her better, and then if she's the one, marry her when she's 18 years old. If she has a mother and father, it would be good for him to meet them and receive the father's approval. The quality of loving to serve others is far superior than the quality of wanting to spend a lot of money on higher education and gaining a career, that's for sure. So you are pushing this guy to cut this girl off at the knees before she even gets a glimpse of life outside of her bubble. After this discussion, I went to church, and a young woman who has been reading my blog came up to me and introduced herself. She married at 16 years old with her parents' full approval. She is 18 years old now and loves being married. Again, another girl that never got to live a life, got cut off at the fucking knees. How old should women wait to get married? Our culture encourages women to go to college/university, gain a lot of debt, and then find a job/career so that they can pay the debt off and find themselves. Instead of finding themselves, they need to be finding who they are in Christ. For this is the rewards of the earth and in eternity. I'm sorry. I now cannot English because I'm going back to this 16-year-old girl got married and is now 18 and, quote, loves being married. Thinking back to when I was 16, just between 16 and 18, I was a totally different person. At 16 to 24, I was a completely different person. Like, okay. She goes on to say, like, okay, she quotes this Lindsay Harold person in the chat room. By the way, a few decades ago or more, nobody would have thought twice about these ages. In fact, a young woman was actively encouraged to be married around 17 or 18 and to marry a man several years older so that he could provide for her. A young man of her own age would not be prepared yet to provide for a family, plus a slightly older man would inspire respect for his leadership more naturally. Most women expected to marry right out of high school to a man in his mid-20s. That was completely normal. I think we have gotten too peer-oriented and expected men and women to marry within their very narrow peer group. Yet, if they wait until the man is established enough to provide for a family before they settle down, they have dated for years and not been chased in the process. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. When she says a few decades ago, that was several decades ago, darling. Because that was not even within my parents' ages. And my parents are in their 60s. So, you're talking about several decades ago. And yes, that was the way things were several decades ago. But that was for other reasons. You're talking about people that were in and around, born and raised around the Great Depression. You're talking about people that were making households during the 50s and 60s. Now, I get it. That's Lori's mindset. So, I mean, of course, since you are such a follower of Lori, that may be your mindset. But we are no longer in that mindset. We're in a completely different day and age. And obviously, you are bright enough to use a computer and enter a chat room. So, we're different, totally different day and age. People nowadays can find very lucrative jobs younger, as long as you have an education. Which, yes, it does cost money, and yes, you have to get a well-paying job to pay off that education. But you do not have to pigeonhole yourself into being 17, 18, or in some cases 16 years old and marry some guy that is older than you just to make a life for yourself. Me and my husband are the same age. We live a pretty nice life. Yes, of course, we both work, but we have a decent life. We both get things that we want. We always have the things that we need. Our son gets the things that he wants. It is a good life. And And neither one of us had to settle for somebody that we didn't want to be with. I didn't have to settle for a guy that was older than me that I didn't want to be with. He didn't have to settle for a girl that was younger than him and pick her straight out of high school. Have to get legal papers signed so that he wasn't being a freaking pedophile. So then, Jonathan, I hope and pray you find a godly wife, along with all of the rest of you who would love to find godly spouses. It's a magnificent blessing to marry someone in the Lord who loves the Lord and his ways. I can't think of any greater blessing in my life besides the fruit, children, and grandchildren that come from this. Plus, this world needs godly couples bearing and raising godly children. So you just want to keep perpetuating the brainwashing. Got it. Okay, good. This world is in desperate need of more salt and light. Or more of the get them while they're young. Make sure you have them within your grasp. Don't let them spread their wings. Got you. So then she quotes Proverbs 5:18. Let thy fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Of thy youth, which means of your youth. Not of her youth, but of your youth. Because you know why? In Bible times, nobody lived past like the age of 35, okay? We're in different times now, people. Y'all need to really fucking sit back and think of this, okay? These people are literally telling people, go out, get a girl fresh out of high school while you're in your mid-20s. They literally told this dude, she's 17. Start courting her now, get in good with the parents, so when she turns 18, you can go ahead and marry her so that you can cut her off from any education and you can hold her up and start pumping out babies and you don't have to worry about a thing. That is what they just told this grown-ass man who is fawning over a 17-year-old. Anybody else see anything completely and utterly disgusting about this? Because I do. Anyway, this is Lori again pressing her agenda. She does not want women to get an education. She does not want women to see anything outside of the church or being married or of pumping out babies. It is all about pump out babies, get out of high school and get married and start shooting out some children for you to brainwash right away. Make sure that they don't have any kind of contact with the outside world. Make sure it's all church, brainwashing. Do it now, do it now, do it now. And I think it is completely sick and disgusting, and I cannot believe that people are actually going along with this. But that is where I'm going to end it today, because I have just gone through not one, but two of Lori's blogs, and I think I'm going to have an aneurysm. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Ring that bell so that you are updated every single time I upload a video. In the comment section down below, let me know what you think of these two blogs. What are your opinions on them pushing this grown man to completely snip the wings of this 17-year-old girl before she has a chance to fly and discover herself? And in the description box down below, I will have both of these blog posts linked so that you can go through and see for yourself exactly what is in both of these blog posts. Also, I have my social media all listed: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email. Also, my new social media, which is minds.com. It is free. You can come follow me on there, which I upload everything that I'm doing, from updating you guys from when I'm shooting videos to editing videos to when they go live, all of that stuff. So if you want to check it out, it is very cool. It is really awesome. There's a lot of interesting things on mine. I've found some new people to follow that I would have never known about. And so if you want to subscribe over there, you can come find me over there from my link down in the description box. Also, I am cross-posting my videos over on BitChute to try to pull some more people over to our lovely little growing family here on YouTube. So that link is also down there as well. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.